The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? This is our friendly reminder to everyone that cybercrime is still crime. A lesson 4 kids learn the hard way after Amber and Scott discuss LifeHACK. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Oh, yes. A cautionary tale of just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Nothing like teenagers up to shenanigans of this kind of caliber.
Yeah, it's hats off to them for doing it. but also someone needs to shake them violently.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm tipping my hat to these group of kids. This was very disturbing on just basically a foundational level to me. So
For which movie?
What do you mean, which movie? The one we're talking about, LifeHACK. What are you talking about?
Didn't think you had actually said the name of the movie yet.
Yeah, I was just getting there.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, folks, welcome. We are talking about LifeHACK, which is the film of 4 teenagers who hang out on a server, and they are really good about finding things on the dark web and doing fake IDs. And they decide that, I don't know, they're going to push their skills a little bit further. And the more influential of the 4 teens, Kyle, has this idea to steal money from this very famous influencer, which Scott thinks is basically a representation of who Elon Musk would be. And his name is Don Hurd. And he gets the notion of, we're going to hack into his phone and we're going to move some crypto.
Yeah. So, listen, I'm trying to put myself into a 17-year-old brain here because I was certainly techie when I was 17, but the world was definitely not what it is now.
I found it really alarming. The film started off with one of those statements that kind of sets the tone for the movie. And it says something like, there's a lot of hackers. A lot of them are teens from 9 to 17 years old. 9.
People learning to be black hats early on.
Yeah. And this group of kids, they actually successfully steal $100,000 in crypto from this influential tech guy. And they do it by calling up the phone company and saying, I lost my phone. I need you to switch my number over. And basically stealing Don Hurd's phone number and then using it to transfer money and this whole elaborate thing. But it made me feel unsettled because it highlighted that things like that could actually really happen.
Yeah, so
on that first heist, it wasn't so high tech that you couldn't just pull it off if you were someone like that who would try and do something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, is that there were the 2 heists. I believe with enough prep that I could pull off the first one.
I think a lot of people could, and that's why I found it so disturbing. And that's why
it wasn't as much hacking as it was
manipulating.
I guess it really is the name of the movie. It's life hacking. I'm going to find out everything I can about you because I know if I know everything about you, I can be you.
And how they did that was Don Hurd had a daughter. Her name was Lindsay. And Lindsay posted about the restaurant she went to and pictures with her dog. And this is my dog, Baxter. And this is the restaurant where I'm at. And here's a selfie with me. And, oh, gee, there happens to be road signs in the back. And because she was so open with her posting on Instagram, this group of teens was able to use her feed to find out information about her dad, track down where they lived, and then be able to figure out passwords based on things that the daughter very innocently put out into the world. And that's the part that troubled me the most, is that information is so readily available and 90% of people don't even think about the things that they post. I know I moderate a group, and I am regularly alarmed when someone says, I can't do that this weekend, I'm out of town. I'm like, I just want to scream at the top of my lungs. Do not tell people you are out of town.
Well, here's the thing. For 90% of people, you can do it. Like, you're not, just because you put the information out there doesn't mean anyone's going to care enough to do anything with it. And for most people, like, no one's going to care. I said 90, it was probably more like 97%. But when you slip into that 3%.
Because it's on the internet and people can see what you say.
Yeah, and Lindsay was absolutely in that 3%. Yeah, that's when you do have to be a lot more careful with your private information.
Because of the information Lindsay put out, they were able to determine her dad's passwords and his location, and being able to say, I'm at an airport and I lost my phone and I need my number transferred over. And with some slick talk and with some correct security words, they were able to do that. And once they had his phone and he didn't, then they could steal the $100,000 in crypto. And that bothered me in the fact that I think there are some very smart people out there and all they need is an idea. And that's why once upon a time, I used to watch the TV show Criminal Minds, and I watched it for a couple seasons, and then I stopped. And it's because I felt like, number one, it was just putting really bad stuff out into the world of all these ideas of how you could commit gruesome crimes or gruesome murders. And even taking that a step further, I thought it's giving people ideas. And I stopped watching it because I just didn't want any part of that. And when I see films like this, granted, it's not grisly murders, but I still feel like it's giving people ideas.
Yeah, I do want to be sleuthy, I guess, or cool, it's probably a better term, into one part of the first plan, and that was when they had to call up the phone company. So obviously,
to change the phone number.
Yeah. So obviously, the girl has figured out that who this person is.
Okay, what are you talking about?
The girl who's working at the phone company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, knows that.
Oh, that he's pretending to be Don Hurd.
Well,
and she actually is like, "Are you the famous Don Hurd?"
Well, this is where a little critical thinking comes into play. Because if Don Hurd comes on the phone and tells you that he's been waiting on hold for hours, that is not Don Hurd. Don Hurd has a lot of money. Don Hurd, if he was even going to do that phone call himself, which he absolutely is not, he would definitely have someone else do the waiting.
Okay, so what would you do is if you were the phone company representative, you would question whether or not he was lying based on the fact he said
I wouldn't
waiting.
question it. I honestly, I would frankly say, yeah, I know you're lying.
Wow.
Because it's just,
I'm glad you don't work in customer service.
But no, that's the way it works. He's a man of masterful means. Like again, I believe that he was the Elon Musk character, and we know that he's got a few dollars. You're just not like, okay, I remember, now mind you, the reality of this is different, but I remember hearing something where a number of years ago, if Bill Gates came across $100 bill on the ground, it is not worth his time to stop and pick it up, because that's how valuable his time is. That said, if Bill Gates comes across a $100 bill on the ground, he's probably going to pick it up. But my point is that we're talking about seconds there. Someone of that caliber spending hours on hold, that's
okay.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Also, you're not probably just waiting at the airport. Think you're flying commercial? No.
Okay, fair enough. So what would you do if you were any of our 4 teens who had successfully pulled off this heist and taken money from one of the most famous people in the tech industry and skimmed $100,000 out of his crypto wallet and did it successfully?
Well, I want to go back and put an asterisk next to something I said. I said that I could probably pull this off. Probably. Again, the point I just made about the phone company, I might have to figure out a different angle. The asterisk is I could pull it off, but I'm also extremely certain that I could not do it in a way that would fully cover my tracks. And you have to be fully tracks covered if you're going to pull something like this. So that would be very much a just because I can does not mean I should, because it would basically be like, hey, I hacked in and got 2 years of jail time.
So back to my question. What would you do if you were one of the 4 teenagers who just got away with lifting $100,000 in crypto from a famous tech billionaire's crypto wallet? Would you say that was great and we have $25,000 each and figure out how to spend it? Or would you feel empowered to do something else?
The truth of the matter is that you're already in effed territory if you get caught. That is grand theft. So
what would you do?
it can't really make it much worse. They wanted to keep going with it.
Well, I think it was more Kyle, the ringleader who came up with the concept for that initial heist, wanted to keep going with it, saying, hey, we did that. That was easy. We can do something again.
Yeah. And I can't say I disagree with the logic.
And they did ultimately find many other targets,
but
because once their crypto earnings went up, it's not like all these other people were watching their money on a day-to-day basis. So they basically skimmed when the currency went up to the top, took it off, and they hacked into people's email and all these other places to get their information and passwords and whatnot. And they got a lot of money from all these people.
So let me be clear as to why that doesn't work and why it and the last thing in the movie are fundamentally flawed. So,
because it's a movie, but go ahead.
So yes, crypto goes up, crypto goes down, etc. You gain money or you lose money. Well, you don't really. Like, for one, you're not getting paid interest on your crypto. No one is paying you to hold crypto. So if I have, say, 10 Bitcoins and they're worth $25,000 each when I buy them, and they're worth $100,000 each now, great. I took $250,000 and turned it into $1 million. But what I didn't do, turn 10 Bitcoins into something more than 10 Bitcoins. It's still just 10 Bitcoins. So you can't scrape off the top, because that would actually cause, no matter what the market did, would cause your number of coins to deplete.
Okay, so you're saying it was factually inaccurate?
I'm just saying I'd be smart enough to know that you're not getting paid interest on your Bitcoin and that these people would discover it. Like, if you're going to go through and just drain someone.
Which they didn't.
Well, they did. They drained Don.
Well, okay, well, you're jumping ahead. We're not there yet.
No, they drained him of the 100,000. Dude, I'm sure had multiple crypto wallets. They took everything he had in that wallet.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're going to do that. Because at least then you're getting everything. The skimming thing is like definitely not an if, but when you get caught. And it won't take long.
The point of Don Hurd being a target was that Kyle started to become very aware, and I'm not sure if this is factually accurate. I would think that it was, but that a lot of very successful tech people had made their first million by the time that they were 19. And he references Mark Zuckerberg and the founder of Reddit and some other company, I can't recall, and saying, I'm 17 now. I have 2 years to get my act together and make my first million.
That is insanely flawed logic. Like, I got to do it in 2 years or I'm screwed.
Well, I think it's generally not a bad thing to have role models and goals.
Oh, yeah. Listen.
Based in felony actions, probably not the best route, though.
Role models and goals, 100%. Feeling like you have a deadline, to hit. Like, I have to make $1 million by 19. What that does is it puts you into a kind of a scarcity, desperation mindset. And we both know what happens when you go into a desperation, scarcity mindset, and it's not good. So be like, yeah, I want to do what these people are doing and model after them. And you certainly are trying to make money. But like, don't be like, I've only made $200,000 when I'm 19. I'm a failure.
Okay, so now we've been talking for about 10 minutes, and you still haven't answered my question. What would you do if you were one of the 14s and you had been successful in taking $100,000 and emptying Don Hurd's crypto wallet? Would you call it a day? Would you feel empowered that, oh crap, that was really easy, we could do that again?
If it's me,
yes, that's what we do here. What would you do?
Yeah, that's true. I'd probably stop. For one, let me tell you, you want to lay super low after the Don Hurd thing for quite some time. Like, you need to definitively know that you have gotten away with it. And yeah, obviously they didn't. So I'm not going to go out and start committing a bunch of other crimes if I don't know that I've gotten away with the first one.
So they didn't get away with it, but they got caught in a very unexpected way, and that was actually from Don's daughter, Lindsay, in her actually being able to piece some stuff together, because the whole way that they got to Don to be able to lift that $100,000 was tapping into Lindsay and saying, hey, oh, this was the other part that was scary to me, is she was an aspiring model. So they went through the charade of creating a modeling agency. So they bought the domain, they bought 12,000 followers, they made it look real. And they searched for a term that was like new and fresh, basically looking through a thesaurus of what name sounds edgy, and named the modeling agency that, what was that, Neoteric or something?
Yeah.
And made this credible looking business. And in doing so, then reached out to Lindsay saying, hey, we'd like to talk to you about a modeling job. And that was part of the infrastructure they put into place to ultimately be able to steal Don Hurd's $100,000. But the unexpected part is that Lindsay actually figures this out and says, hey, my dad's rich. We had a falling out. I know what you did, and now I need you to do it again and help me rob my dad.
Here's the thing. The way they got caught, they shouldn't have been caught. Alex, as best as I could tell from the rest of the movie, put on these fake glasses that she didn't need to make her look more professional. If I'm going to do the glasses, fine. I'm just going to knock the lenses out. Because why do I need lenses? Like, let me tell you.
Okay. Well, you're not clarifying that for our listeners who haven't seen it. There was a reflection there, and you could see information. But more than that is Kyle didn't completely scrub everything on the internet, and he had left his phone number on I believe it was a Telegram account, and that is how Lindsay ultimately found him.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, whether they want to be a model or not, if you are the offspring of a tech billionaire, I am not going to assume you are stupid. Not at all. You have every resource to have the best education. You probably are getting things thrown at you by your dad. You're probably in and around people who are going to be really smart about things like this. Like, I think that's a massive underestimation.
So what would you do if you were Kyle and all of a sudden you get a call from Lindsay saying, I know who you are, I know what you did, and I need you to do this super uber heist for me, or I'm sending you to jail and turning you in for what you've already done?
So here is the thing about blackmail. You can't choose when the blackmailing starts, but you can choose when it ends. Because that's the thing.
Well, that's usually when people kill people, is because you can't trust them.
Well, could you feel confident that this is all Lindsay wanted? Nothing else.
Oh no, I definitely saw the writing on the wall that if she got away with this, then she would leverage that as long as she wanted to, of saying, well, now I have information. You've done 2 heists, so now do this for me. I see that being a never ending indebtitude. What is being indebted?
Yeah.
What is the word I'm looking for?
So I suppose there actually is a way to deal with this, and that is simply
Kill Lindsay?
no, not even kill Lindsay. And it's actually what they did.
They bring her in on it, so she has
get Lindsay involved so that if you go down, she does as well.
Yeah.
So
also
that's
too,
one way to stop blackmail.
Also, too, unfortunately, and we see this time and time again, that people of influence do have better credibility than people without influence. And in that fact, even if they had been caught and she had been caught, she could have said, oh, they coerced me, they blackmailed me, they threatened me. And sadly, I think it's safe to say that anyone in authority would likely believe her over any of the 14s involved.
Listen,
I think it'd be hard to make that stick.
If I'm the guy doing the job,
which guy doing the job?
Any of them.
Well,
I'm taking screenshots.
There was three guys and a gal.
Yeah. I'm taking screenshots as all of this is going down. The ones that show the cameras and show Lindsay on the cameras, like that you could piece together an irrefutable.
Okay, that's not a bad idea.
Sequence that
get some incriminating evidence.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that Lindsay literally said over the internet, "I want to steal my dad's $25 million." So there's telephony records on that one. They could easily be like, oh, yeah, no, that wasn't a deep fake. That was actually her.
So fast forwarding toward the latter portion of the film, they do this second heist against Dawn Hurd for the $25 million to help Lindsay, Dawn's daughter, get that money. And it goes terribly wrong. Alex, the girl of the 14s, all of a sudden goes missing in the midst of the heist, and everyone else scatters. And ultimately, Kyle, who is more of the ringleader for everything, is feeling an incredible sense of guilt in the fact that his friends are scared, on the run, being questioned, disappearing, whatever. And
we are jumping ahead way far here.
Yeah, it can't be as long as the film.
Yes, I understand that. But you talk about how the heist went terribly wrong. The heist went terribly wrong, really, for one reason. And let me tell you, as ADHD as I am, if I am Alex and I am doing this job involving this guy's laptop that involves putting a USB device in that laptop, I am not forgetting to remove that USB drive, because in the end, that was a smoking gun. They had to go back for it.
I don't think it was just a matter of, oops, I forgot. It was literally Dawn was walking back to his film while Alex was transferring information off of a laptop, and he was on his way, and they were literally counting down. He's on his way. He's turning the corner, and you can still see the information trying to load onto the USB. Obviously, that is an incredibly stressful and frantic situation.
Well, it was interesting, and I don't know if you caught this point or not, because I did. They got the money out pretty fast. And then Alex was still there waiting. They were waiting because Kyle was getting blackmailable information. It was taking all the things about the product that killed someone. Or maybe the product, I don't know.
It wasn't a product as much as it was that someone at a party with Lindsay wound up jumping from a roof.
Yeah, he was getting a bunch of evidence.
And they had to get a bunch of NDAs, and Don bought everything off so his daughter Lindsay wouldn't be implicated in this person's death.
So, yeah.
Did Mr. Ed just join?
What?
Did Mr. Ed just join?
No, but it sure sounded like it. No, Alex got put in harm's way by Kyle trying to get the rest of that information. I get why you would do it, but I feel like you have to be in an abort stance at that point.
Well, that was their way to make sure that they were safe, is if anything came of it, hey, we have all this dirt on you. I think that's an important part of the process. If I was someone stealing money, I guess I would want a get out of jail free card, and that's what those incriminating documents are.
Yeah, but also as a point, when you transfer a file folder from one place to the other, the files don't all transfer at the same time. The files transfer maybe a few at a time, but like you start a file, you end a file, start a file, end the file. So you've gotten near the end and you haven't gotten everything. You've still gotten a whole lot, and you don't want to get straight up caught. So it might have been near the end. I still probably would have been like abort. Either that, or I would have been smart enough to open the folder, make sure that the things I thought was most required got transferred first, and then transfer everything else past that.
But here's the thing. There's two important parts that you're missing. Number one, when you are rushed and frantic, you are not necessarily thinking rational and clearly and effectively at all times. Number two, it's a movie. If everyone made the right decisions, there would be no movies.
Oh, I know. We wouldn't have a show. But that's what we do here. What would you do? This is what I would do. So the other point before we close out too much on this one that I thought was very interesting was when Don Hurd offered Kyle a job.
The other three teens are either MIA or being detained or on the run, and Kyle contacts Don with a proposition to say, I need you to let everyone else go and I will take the rap. And that's when Don says, I'd like you to come work for me.
Yeah. So this is super interesting here because there's two ways to look at this. Number one, I can tell you that like illegal hackers get hired by companies all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because if they can hack our stuff, they can know how to not make it hack proof. And basically you could stay ahead of the hackers by having one. So, and given the Elon Musk persona, I could completely see him saying, what? Yeah, I was 25 million. I'm worth 300 billion. I will pay you to come join my team.
Yeah, I actually coincidentally referenced Criminal Minds a little while ago, and Penelope Garcia, one of the characters in there, actually worked for the FBI and helped them with tech stuff. And we find out many seasons in that it's because she ultimately was a hacker.
Yeah. Also, though, he could be doing this to flush you out.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, there's no job.
Make you put your guard down and, I have this job, and then off you go.
Yeah, there would have to be a
jail.
There would have to be a signed contract that states that there's absolution on this. Like, you cannot prosecute me for literally anything that's happened prior to right now.
Yeah, because on one hand, you were impressed with the abilities of this person and you want them working on your side. On the other hand, they still stole $25 million from you.
Yeah, but I didn't like that Don was like, fuck, I'm on the friends. Like, what? He said, well, what about my friends?
Oh, yeah.
And Don said, fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Because that would lead me more towards the thought of being flushed out. Because here's the deal. He's taken the money. Like, are you really trying to get him for his skills?
Okay.
Because if you are, then he can counter and just say, I will work for you, but no one gets prosecuted. No one. And if he says, I'm not doing that.
Okay, use names. We have Kyle and Don.
Yeah. Alex, Sid, P. I guess P was involved in the first one, but not the second one.
No, I'm just saying you're having a conversation. Keep going back and forth saying he this, he that. I'm just saying for clarity for folks who might not have seen the film. Just
yeah.
Don and Kyle.
I'm just saying Kyle should have requested immunity for everyone involved. And if he agrees to that and is willing to sign an electronic contract, then okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
That's great. We're good. But if he's not willing to do that, then he's using the contract to flush me out.
Yeah, no, I think that would be good negotiation. But ultimately, that does not happen. Kyle winds up taking the rap for everybody. He returns the $25 million to Don, and he skims the interest of $300,000 off the top.
Except, ...
Yes.
See earlier rant.
And after serving less than 2 years because he was a minor, he is let out. He then claims that $300,000 that he skimmed and hid and gives $100,000 to each of his 3 friends. And everything's good. And I guess black hat tendencies are celebrated and rewarded.
Good for him to have remembered the 12 words he needed.
If it's worth $300,000, it's some incentive to remember.
But it was done under duress.
Yeah.
Like crazy duress. If it's me, I'm writing them down somewhere.
I would as well.
A little analog thing. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. That's the whole point of those, is that they actually should be analog somewhere.
Yeah, and I thought about that as well. I thought, well, you probably don't want someone to find it, but you could certainly have some sort of code that you understood, because I wouldn't count on being able to remember all of that for almost 2 years.
Mind you, I put mine into notepads and stuff like that, but also I don't have a substantial crypto wallet, and never have. If I ever got into crypto, something substantial, you better believe I'd be opening a new wallet, and I would be writing those words down.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.